Matthew Stafford is on a pitch count. His elbow is sore. It's just the beginning of training camp, and they already have to monitor him. This is really interesting because if this were Trey Lance, oh my goodness, the sky would be falling. Just the rumor that it happened to Trey Lance once is breaking news, huge news. But for Matthew Stafford, it's no big deal because he's proven. What do you think of this?
I think it's not uncommon for NFL quarterbacks to, especially early on in the offseason, as far as early on in the beginning of camp, I should say, when they're throwing a lot, to have some pain and some soreness because it's unnatural and you're doing it a lot. But then I think you break through those adhesions and then it becomes a non-factor.
I just think I'm bringing this back to the Niners. Like, this is a great example of how Trey Lance, his inexperience and the fact that no one's really seen him, they'll just weaponize anything about him. Arm fatigue. For Trey Lance, it's a huge deal. For Matthew Stafford, it's no big deal. That just shows you that really any criticism of Trey Lance is rooted in mystery. And until he plays a full season, everything is going to be a topic. And he won't be able to do anything well enough. If he wins this season, all this stuff will be buried. He's just nitpick central because he hasn't played.
I want to see when Trey comes out in September and plays great. I want to see all the receipts. I'm not going to do the work because I don't give a crap enough, but I would like somebody else who has a little bit more anal retentiveness to their personality to go get the receipts from all these different people who had all kinds of questions and concerns. I'd like to see those people. I'd like to see those people have to own their critiques because I think a lot of their critiques were just like filler.
When Mike Silver and Colin Cowherd talked about, or when they talk about Trey Lance's arm fatigue, they say it in a way that's like, see, he's not ready. He's not good enough. It's not going to work out. This is a deal breaker. But then Matthew Stafford just won a Super Bowl, has arm fatigue, and people are like, that's a non-story. Who cares? It'll be fine. Everything's a deal breaker for Trey Lance. Oh, he actually didn't look both. He didn't look both ways when he made that left turn. I saw it's a deal. That's his terrible decision, mate. He's a terrible person. Everything he does. Anyway, I know it's not about Trey Lance, but it just keeps it in perspective.
Is it? The only thing I can think of, somebody was asking me about the criticism for Lance earlier this month, and I said, is it possible that Carson Wentz's career arc is impacting this a little bit? The fact that he played there, he was built up, he had an MVP type year, and then I mean, there were a couple passes last year with the Colts that were just god awful. It's like, what? That was like the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, on your back foot, guy all over you, just floated up, just these panic passes. And I wonder if Wentz's struggles and his kind of movement now around the league has made people go, we got to really critique Trey because they're coming out of the same system. And look at Wentz. I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. I think that's sort of like unspoken, but a lot of the underlying logic of Lance can't possibly work out is he went to North Dakota State, went to an FCS school for 1 year, like who has ever worked out doing that? And you can't say Carson Wentz. So that's the kind of the point. And it's the same thing with Justin Fields too. Like, what Ohio State quarterback has ever been good? I'm betting against Justin Fields being the exception. Okay, but that's pretty much the logic behind it.
There's also, just because Lance held the ball a little bit in his first couple of games and Fields holds the ball, quite a bit. I mean, for a guy who runs 4.4 flat, he's been sacked an awful lot of times when you look at last year and going back to Ohio State. I think it's almost like people who see guys who have physical skills who then hold the ball a little bit too much early and they can't process. And that's what I thought was interesting. What Steve Young said this week is like, he believes in Trey as an elite processor of what he sees. And now it's about the mechanics and getting the ball there on time. And on time seems like kind of an easy concept, but it's not. And it's, that's why I thought Mac Jones was so impressive this last year, is that Yeah, the ball wasn't always great. The speed wasn't, but the ball comes out on time. And I can see why Shanahan liked that probably in Mac Jones. And I can see that being an area where they got to really coach Trey. He's got to put in all those reps so that the ball comes out on time. He's going to process what he sees. He's going to go to the right guy. He's going to find the right guy. But can he get it there on time?
Yeah, but one of the nice things one of the things I like most about Trey Lance is if you're getting a quarterback who's mobile, what you want him to do is escape pressure. But a lot of mobile quarterbacks run into pressure. A lot of mobile quarterbacks get sacked a lot. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, not Trey Lance. Not in college, not in the NFL. He got sacked less than Jimmy Garoppolo despite holding the ball a lot longer than him. And I think that shows he's a good decision maker and he's really elusive and strong. I think that's one of the best parts of his game. The other thing that hasn't translated yet is the lack of interceptions. His interception percentage was exactly as like Jimmy's last year. I think it'll be lower. But
I agree.
Not getting sacked already showed up in his game. And when he does like pass up on a quick throw, he can make a bigger play. And that's good things happen. So I mean,
it's going to be really interesting to see because he's got the weapons around him, Grant, where if Shanahan wants to get him in an early rhythm, getting the ball out of his hands, Trey could potentially get into a phenomenal early season run because he does have so many run after the catch weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to make his numbers look better than they really are. Swan Song says, hypothetical, bigger Bay Area excitement and celebration. Niners winning a Super Bowl or Warriors repeating his chance. Niners. There's no comparison.
There's no comparison.
No.
The Niners, and people say, well, why? The NFL is huge.
Yep.
Boston's the biggest Red Sox baseball town there is. Patriots have now eclipsed the Red Sox. And I have friends who live there. They're like, oh, Patriots are bigger. Yep. Because the NFL's bigger. The NFL's bigger than the NBA. The NFL's bigger than Major League Baseball. And then you mix in the fact that the Niners got here first. And that's a big thing. So their lineage with Bay Area fans runs the deepest because they got here in the 40s.
It's like asking what would mean more to Dallas. Back-to-back championships from the Mavericks or one more championship from the Cowboys. What do you think?
Yeah.